As much as I say this and as much as I talk about this, I'm so surprised that I haven't made a video on it yet. And it's understanding that the path doesn't need affirmation. It's the self. And we get this directly in 2 Corinthians verse 17. And I'll go further on after I read it, but it says, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. This is just us having to understand this for ourselves, that therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. It's understanding that we don't have to bring old baggage into our new experiences. It's also understanding that you can't heal anything if you don't acknowledge the wound. And the reason why I bring this up even more. Oh, and I also have this other verse. And I think it's like, I'd be remiss if I didn't say it. It's in Psalms 18 verse 36. And it says, you have enlarged my path under me so my feet did not slip. Oh, that's so good. And it just talks about the path, right? And that is your path to take. That nobody else can make it anything else for you. But to bring this, I think, to bring the full message together, I was talking to one of my clients and good friends today in a meeting, and we're just talking about expanding and doing something bigger. And we've been talking about it for maybe like a week or two, and her own, I guess I would put it like this, her own self was getting in the way. She was getting in the way of herself. And it wasn't necessarily her that was getting in the way because she was willing. It was the uncomfortableness didn't have anything to do with this new experience or this new venture that we were headed towards, but it had more to do with her old self getting in the way of the new experience. The uncomfortableness came from her previous self trying to show up in these new experiences, which led me to tell her that it's okay. Because the path never needs affirmation. It's always the self. The journey doesn't need convincing that it's worth taking. It knows, but do you? And it's amazing because outside looking in, she's perfect for this venture. She's perfect for the role. And it just made me, as she was saying every reason why she felt like she was inadequate, even though she knew that she was equipped for it. And not to say that she had everything together, but she knew that she could do it. But even though she would still talk about the things that made her inadequate for it, or she would even say, why would somebody watch me? Why would somebody listen to me? It made me smile because I was once in that same place. It made me smile because I saw myself in her. And I saw how much I grew. And now I have the ability to share this with her. To say things like, though the race in itself is a great expression, the race only has worth because you want to run it. The race doesn't mean anything to anybody who doesn't deem it worthy to run. But when you find it worthy to run it, run it. It has nothing to do with, one of the things she said is she knew that people would say something, people judge harshly. Though very true. I told her one of the things that I do, because I'm in that kind of space where anybody can say anything. One of the things that I do is I don't think about the judgment that could be shown upon me, but more so giving people the space to support it. And even deeper, for the real reason why, is knowing who I'm helping or who I even am attempting to help in the process. And what I'm saying is that when you get into that same position of numbering all of the inadequacies for reasons why you shouldn't take the path in the first place, why you shouldn't begin your journey. Realize that the race is only worth it because you want to run. It has nothing to do with however anybody else determines the value of it. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And if you're willing to go on the journey and walk far enough, walk long enough, you'll start meeting people who are on the journey too. Typically their own version of it, but you'll start meeting people who want to grow too. And because they have seen you walking along the distance, you indirectly give them the permission to begin their own journey. You indirectly give them the permission to do the thing that they already knew they should be doing. It is not necessarily you getting the praise to say that people say, thank you for this, but it's more so being the person you wish you always had. It's more so being your own helping hand, treating yourself like a friend. But that takes you being willing to take the path in the first place. But don't act as if these insecurities and the ways that you speak to yourself, these things are the ways that, like, a lot of us have great ideas, but we don't take it. We don't put it into action. Ask yourself, why not? Like, don't just try to brush them to the side, because what's not resolved always repeats. And we talked about it. She said that literally she's had amazing ideas, or ideas that she deemed to be amazing, about similar things or just further things, but did not act upon them because she asked herself, why would I be the one? Instead of asking herself, why not her? But if we go deeper, because to some degree, I still believe that's superficial, because we're not really solving the problem. We're just trying to pour motivation on top of it. But it's not until we stop being superficial with ourselves and we're willing to go deep that we can find the root of the problem. And when you can find the root, that's when you can decimate it. That's when you can chop it off. That's when you can free yourself from it. Or heal. Evidently, you can heal from it too. You can start responding in a way that helps you instead of hinders. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I say to my friend and client. It doesn't matter what I say to you. It matters what you do with the information. It matters what you're willing to do for yourself. Because it takes you. The path is just the path until you're willing to take it. And then it becomes a journey. And then that's when this verse really stands out, when it says that you enlarged my path under me, so my feet did not slip. It's realizing that as we're walking the path, the Lord directs our steps. It's realizing that we gain clarity on the way. It's realizing that motivation doesn't always happen before, but a lot of times and often it happens as we're walking. That sometimes the power in just showing up, right? How much power in just showing up really just means that getting in the right atmosphere can be the motivation that you need, can be the encouragement that you need. Just starting the task can be the literal motivation that you need. It's when you are willing to get out of your head and to be where your feet are. Walking the path, not because it's worth taking, but because it's yours. And you're worth trying. You're worth it. You're worth finding out if this could be all that you envision it being. You're worth it. And when you begin to walk in that path, then you realize that stepping into this allows you to become this new creation, and realize that the old version of yourself has passed away. Your old version is, the past you is in the past. It's passed away. We just have to be willing to let it go. Yeah, sometimes you have to mourn over yourself, and that's cool. Do what's necessary. But I think the problem is when we stay in this reference, in this reminiscing of our old self and what we used to do and how it used to be, or we stay in this reference of where we could go and how we could look and what we could have. When all those things, all these versions of ourselves, they don't exist anymore. All you have is you. And what you do right now and how you respond to it is up to you. And as I said these things to her, I began to see her light up. I began to see some motivation kind of seep in, some type of commitment start to form. And I'm hoping it does the same for you. As it's done to me, being willing to show up if I'm tired, which I am, don't be real, or if I'm full of energy, knowing that the work, yeah, that's so good. Sometimes I hear it before I say it, that the work is not decided by my feelings. That is not dictated by how I feel. Stop letting what you do be dictated by how you feel. Let it be dictated by the commitment that you made. Let what you do be dictated by the commitment that faith talked you into. Don't let doubt talk you out of it. It's easy to doubt it because the outcome is always inconsistent. But that's what you're signing up for. I think we confuse what the outcome is supposed to be. We're stepping into the unknown. Why wouldn't we expect the unknown? Why are we expecting something that we believe is supposed to happen 100% when we're in the unknown? We don't know what's supposed to happen. All you know is who it's going to make you, and who it makes you is based off your response to it. It can make you bitter and quit and feel like you're a failure and stop, or it can make you resilient and keep pursuing it. It can make you more hungry, more obsessed, hopefully in a positive connotation, and keep the pursuit going. Give you some grit. Be willing to keep going even when nobody else believes, and you're just operating off of your own belief. Sometimes the best way to get there is just getting there alone. Not because everybody else couldn't go along with you, but you're the only one willing to keep moving forward. It's sad to say sometimes, but sometimes where you're going, the ticket of admission only seats one. And that's okay too. Because it's your vision. Everybody else not only won't understand it, but don't have to. They don't have to understand it. They don't have to see it. Because it's your race. It's only worth it because you want to run it, not because everybody else wants to. Or it wouldn't be yours. That's why I say stay in your lane. And yes, It does mean stop worrying about everybody else and what everybody else got going on and what everybody else is doing and what everybody else is receiving. But more importantly, it just means focus on you. Focus on the path ahead. Focus on your journey. Focus on just putting one foot in front of the other. And when it gets hard to keep going, that's when you realize who you are. If you're willing to keep pushing, or if you just stop right there. And I don't think either one makes you either thing. It's just who you choose. It's just choosing who you want to be. It's not to say, because I think all of us have experienced one side of it or another. And if you don't think so, I can be the testament that there's been many things that I've quit on, and it seems like the further you go, the harder it gets. And there's been some things that I've quit right before I passed the finish line. It's true. There's been things that I spent hundreds of days doing consistently and I stopped. And you would ask yourself, if you would read my story, you would say, why would he stop now? You can say the same for yourself. Why stop now? Let the story of your life be encouragement to those who read it. Let it inspire. And if anything, when you get to the end of your story, make sure that you love every second of it. Because not only is this your life, but it's also your path. Give yourself the affirmation that is required. Give yourself the affirmation that is needed. To the point where you affirm you enough to take the journey. Not because it's worth it, but because you just want to. I just want to do it. Regardless of the outcome, I'm willing to keep moving forward. And that's when nobody can take anything away from you. When you have no expectation, you're just willing to just keep expressing, oh, what a beautiful, joyous thing, because you can be happy right now. Just me showing up every single day, regardless of the outcome, makes me happy. Because this is it. This is the goal. The goal is just to keep showing up. I'm not expecting anything else. I'm not expecting anything that's out of my control. What's in my control is the only thing that I'm trying to control. And I hope and I pray that this message finds those who really need it, just as my friend did. And if this video was helpful to you, what an amazing cherry on top to the expression that I was already willing to give, that I already deemed to be good. And if it wasn't, well, that's why I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.